Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin, and today is Takeoff Tuesday. As of right now, we have 54 participants on the line. That is awesome. Make sure that you reach out to your team. We don't want any ICMs left behind. These trainings are a fantastic way to start your morning with some really different and cool ideas and a lot of review as well. So we're learning from top leaders from across the country, and these calls are just so powerful and really, again, a great way to start our mornings. So today we get to learn from Bill Predebon, and Bill is an awesome individual who I've had the honor of getting to know over the last few years, going on 4 years now. And the first time I saw Bill present, I was immediately drawn to him because he mentioned that one day he and his wife would like to have a animal sanctuary or like a dog rescue. And I just think that's so awesome. So I've always really looked up to Bill because of that. We both have a strong passion for animals. And Bill really does provide a great example for the team and for the nation because he is truly a product of the product. He is taking so much action on both sides of the business, and he is living proof that we can put anything, we can create anything that we want to with this business. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about Bill's history before Renatus. He was a pro skier for 10 years in Vail, Colorado, and he realized that he was not qualified to do much else. And so he ended up getting into the franchise business, and he owned a couple of stores. And due to lack of knowledge, that cost him the business, and he ended up losing everything. In 2008, he heard about real estate investing. He did not get educated and just tried to attempt it on his own. He ended up upside down in over $400,000 during the 2008 crash. He then found Renatus, and in his first year alone, he made 8 times more than he did the previous year as a loan officer. And ever since then, Bill has completed close to 150 deals now, give or take. He has grossed multiple 7 figures in real estate. He is a marketing leader, so he is on our PIT team, meaning he's a President's Advisory Council member in training. And we are so very fortunate to have him as our trainer today. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound good.
Oh, that's good because my screen is kind of funky. So check. Oh, I can't. My mouse isn't working. Oh, can you? Okay, hold on. There we are. Can you see me? There's my little friend. You guys, this is my new adoptee.
So
if you are
cute.
watching the video, you can you see him, Keely?
Yes.
This is Evie.
Oh, Evie, she has a name now.
She's a little skittish. So we have a new family member, folks. Welcome to the call. Keely, thank you so much for introducing me. And good morning, David and Hilda. Good morning, Keely. Oh, right down there, girl. Here you are. And yeah, thanks for all you do. Thanks for taking the time out of your mornings and setting this thing up. And it is not easy. I've had my own technical difficulties every morning, so it's crazy. But I really appreciate all you do. I appreciate what you're doing for the community. And I know we had just an awesome Super Saturday training, and you were our MC this week and killed it. And it was just awesome having you be up there in front of the room running the show. So thanks for everything you do, and congrats on all your accomplishments. It's awesome. Yay.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, for sure, Keels. Awesome. Congrats on your new deal, hopefully, too. Looks like that's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, if we can talk about that after the call, that would be awesome.
Yeah. All right. 760-533-3141. That is my cell number. 760-533-3141. If you're new or never took that down, I am available. Sometimes I don't get back to you right away. Sometimes your text or your phone call gets buried in my messages. So if I did not get back to you within, I would say normally the same day, reach out to me again, twice or 3 times. It's okay. It's not on purpose. It's just, a lot of times I'll get questions that come in, or just comments and stuff that come in on text and email, and or not really email, but text and voicemail, or I'll miss a call and there'll be no voicemail, and then they're more than just an easy, quick answer. So then I don't text it right away, and then the text will get buried, and so and then I'll forget about it. You know what I mean? I won't get back to it in time. So I try every night. I try to go back to my texts, both for business and for Renatus too, and I will like start a draft so I can work on it the next morning, if that makes sense. So please don't be upset if I haven't got back to you. Just get back to me again. Hit me up again, and I'll get back to you. I promise. All right. Hey, Bobby, what's going on, man? Good morning, Christine. Cool, guys. So, you know, it's so funny because I remember last week that I was talking about something, and then I thought we'd talk more about it this week, and I can't remember what it was that I was talking about. So I'm going to talk about something else this week, but I'm pretty sure that we want to implement what we're learning here. And I'm pretty sure that we want to close business. And so I'm going to try to share my screen a little bit. I brought my laptop in case I need to log in on that, just because it goes much faster. My computer is archaic, and but I'm going to talk first. So I want you guys to remember, or that it matters what I want, but this call is for y'all. And so if anybody here is interested at all in bringing up a conversation or speaking, or I just clicked the wrong button. You know, talking about something, or I'm just checking this. Hold on one sec. Sorry, guys. My this stupid thing. I can't toggle back and forth. All right. If anybody has a comment or question or thought or something they want to talk about, feel free to chat it in or come off mute. You guys know you can do that with me. There's no problem just changing the subject. There it is. I'm trying to, for some reason, my there. I had to get it. My screen is bigger than my regular screen, so my bottom toolbar is above it. Anyway, all right. So we're going to kick it off today with a little bit of discussion about follow-up, and I'm hoping that you guys could use some follow-up. I can't imagine that you can't, but again, if there's something specific, like you can kind of track, if this makes sense, your you can kind of track your progress in your business, right? So you've got to have leads in order to see the people, right? So see the people is step number one. You've got to have a lead source. So like Raphael and I met yesterday and we talked about lead sources on finding more people. I'm going to talk a little bit to that on the invitation, right? So see the people and then build for events and tell the story. So see the people and tell the story. And if you remember, tell the story is number two. And I'm hoping you're following me on this, but tell the story is the way that we answer questions. It is the way that we overcome objections. And so if we see the people and then we tell about Renatus and we tell people they should come and we tell people why we think it's good for them, that is not telling the story. That is talking, and that is selling, and telling is not selling, right? But telling stories, using stories to paint a picture, and then asking questions, that's how we invite, right? And then we're building for the event. So we're collecting their name and number and email, and then we're putting them in the system and we're inviting them to the event. And then, of course, there is the follow-up. And, you know, for lack of a better term, fortune's in the follow-up, and that is great. But we need to make sure that we are doing a follow-up. And the follow-up is on purpose. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the follow-up. I'm really going to talk about the four these 4 money-making activities, if that's all right. And again, if there's something specific that you guys want to come out and discuss, whether it's anything, like if it's about follow-up or anything else, if it's about me to people, if you have a specific text that you want me to help you respond to, or a specific person you want to talk to, or anything in your world that means something to you, I'm sure that it means something to everybody else, and we can go over it. All right. So I'm not going to spend much time on getting leads. Get with your 5-star. There's a lot of lead sources in the back office, and of course, if you can make out your list, of the top people you want to invite. It's not even the top people you want to invite. It's the top. If you make a list of 200, that's the number. Bob Snyder came up with that number. I don't know where he got it, but that's the number I would work with. All right. And then you can narrow it down. And, Michael suggests that you narrow down the top 25 and there's no discrimination. There's no judgment. There's no speculation of these people, right? You guys, this is simply a list of the top 25 people you prefer to do business with. In fact, it's really the top 25 people you prefer to hang out with. It's the ones that matter the most to you, that you care about the most, that you enjoy the most, that you love the most, or whatever the case is, right? It has nothing. I don't care if it's your daughter and she's 15. You know what I mean? Like obviously she can't sign the contracts, but you know what I'm saying? You want to put on the list of your top 25 the people that mean the most to you. And then we'll worry about funding them, or whether or not it's good for them, or whether they're good at sales, or whether they even like real estate. We'll worry about that later. But let's get them invited, right? And I'm not going to talk too much right now about how to invite them, as far as, calling on your list. To be honest, I'm not great at it. I don't have a lot of experience in it. I've called on my own list, but I don't have a lot of great experience calling on my team's list, or how you should call on your list. So that'll be up to you and yourself and your 5-star or whatever. If you're on my team, then obviously we can do it however we want, and trial and error. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. All right. Now I will talk a little bit about inviting, right? And so I was in a one-on-one yesterday, and I'm having a conversation, and when we naturally, I'm not going to spend a ton of time because I'm going to go to the follow-up, and I've got the chat up if anybody has chat. Oh, there's already a chat. Are you doing all one-on-one follow-ups? Hands-on real estate. You guys, I will dive into this. Yes. So I trained a little bit on this. I had very little time on Saturday to do this, but I trained at the Super Saturday on this. And here's what I think. Number one, if you're 5-star qualified or 1-star qualified and you're not doing follow-ups, then you're not making $10,000, then we need to do some follow-ups. Okay. You've heard Dane Clark. Dane Clark averaged his follow-ups. It was 260 follow-ups, and he made about $900 a follow-up last year on average. Not 260 people enrolled, but the number of people that did enroll was about 25. And there's $250,000. That's $1,000 a follow-up. You guys can do the math. So follow-ups are absolutely key. They're pinnacle to your business, right? Is that the right word? I don't even know. I probably can't spell that. So here's what we got. I do a one-on-one follow-up. If you are 5-star qualified, you should be doing one-on-one follow-ups. And I'm going to share with you specifically how I do my one-on-one and what I do. Number two is, if you're not 5-star qualified, in my opinion, you should take your 5-star with you. If you don't have your 5-star, or you don't, whatever the relationships with your 5-star, perhaps there's another one that can help you, or perhaps there's just another person. Otherwise, you know what? You can do it on your own, and you can ask some other people to guide you and prep you for your own follow-up. Dr. Gary is one of the strongest direct sales closers on the pack. And he has someone at a meeting on Thursday and or a property tour or an event on Saturday. And then he does a follow-up on Sunday at a hotel. For the longest time, he used a hotel lobby, usually Spring Hill Suites or Embassy Suites or something like that. And that's where he did his one-on-ones. Now he does it, I say, a lot of times at his house. So, but that's his system. So prior to the follow-up, real quick on the inviting, we by human nature want to tell people what to do. We want to tell them to come to the events. We want to tell them to about Renatus. We want to tell them about the opportunity. We want to tell them what the event is about, how long it is. We want to tell people things. And in my one-on-one yesterday, we discovered that, you know, there has to be some emotional attachment to your prospect. So even if they're 3-foot rule and you are there, rarely, it's not always, but rarely are you going to sit there and meet someone for the first time and flat out invite them to a meeting. Okay. However, if you have the time and there is an interest, you can build a little bit of rapport. And how do you do that? You do that by asking questions, right? You do that by, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you guys understand what I mean by this. Like if someone tells you something that they're, you know, hey, have you ever thought about investing in real estate? Or did you know that you could, you know, whatever your did you know is, whatever your intrigue line is, you guys, right? And the minute they give you an answer, if you say, oh my God, yes, I love real estate. In fact, I'm an investor. Oh my God, you've got to come see my event. It's so awesome. You got to meet my partner. You got to, you know, you just start telling them what they should or shouldn't do. There's not enough rapport there. Like there's no value yet brought up in the meeting and what's available. In fact, you know, if it's someone newer that to your relationship with them, you may want to just gather some information and call them up later in the afternoon or the next day or 2 days later and invite them then. Strike up a conversation about real estate again. And once that conversation commences and there's some value, value built up in your relationship, you can then, you know, find a point in their world where perhaps Renatus can bring a solution, right? So just because someone's interested in real estate, just because someone's sick of their job, just because someone, you know, says something about something, it doesn't mean they're going to act on it. They're definitely not going to take a Thursday night and spend 2 hours with someone they don't know that well, or even if they do know you well, if there's no value there and there's no motivation for them to go, right? So I know it makes sense for us because we can solve their problem, but their problem's not big enough yet. Like just because they hate their job, they're not going to quit it. They're not looking for another job. They're just letting you know that they hate their job and they'd love to get out of it. And God, I wish I didn't have to drive in the traffic or whatever it is. Those are just ordinary, normal, everyday things that they live in until you really get it out of them. And you're like, oh, if you spend a little bit more time asking, well, how long's your commute? Like, what's that like? What do you do? Why do you hate it? You know, what's the problem? Is it your boss? Is the work? Or you just want a different career? Is you not making enough money? Like, ask a few more questions. It's not 50 questions, but it's a few. And so you can then find the real pain. And I hate, you know, I'm not a big fan of, you know, find the pain button and all that stuff. And that's not what I mean, but you can really find the problem, right? You can really find out what they're really thinking and really feeling by asking them questions. And then you can answer questions, you can ask questions, and you can present an opportunity and a solution through Renatus once you understand where they're coming from and what's truly, but we've got to vest some time, you guys. We've got to give it, we actually have to care. We have to give a crap, right? We have to care about the person enough to understand if somebody tells you, you know, they wanted to get into real estate and you spend a little time and say, well, you know, why haven't you? You know, what are you reading? Are you studying? Well, yeah, I'm kind of working on YouTube. You know, what do you find on YouTube? I've never really looked on YouTube for videos on real estate. What's out there? How long are the videos? Like, what are you learning? You know, really give a crap about what they're doing so that then you can say, you know what? I know this is a little premature, but you know, I'm in real estate and, you know, I'm pretty new, or I've been doing this a little while, or whatever the case is, but I've got a bunch of people I work with on a weekly basis. Would that interest you? Like if you met some people that are also in real estate, maybe came to see another networking opportunity where you can, you know, perhaps join a community of investors, you know, kind of see what I got going on, you know, then there's some value there. And that may not have been the perfect example, but you guys understand. So we got to get people to the meetings. All right. But once you get people to the meetings, if you want to make some money in this business, and I believe in this. In fact, I'm going to Facebook it, which I keep saying I'm going to do, and I don't do enough Facebooking. But this is something that's important. Is that number one is, let's be honest and let's be transparent. Folks, I have been inviting people to join Renatus for the last 4 years. The number one reason being is that I wanted to make money. All right. The caveat to that is that I knew in my mind that I wanted to help people. But I also knew when someone comes out and says, what's in it for you, Bill? What do you get from inviting someone to this meeting? I know in my head, and I own it. A, I am compensated for you coming. But above that, and far greater than that compensation, is my real estate business, my network grows. I don't care if, and I do care, so that's not the right way. If people don't enroll, the majority of the people I invite don't enroll, right? We all know that. But even if people don't enroll, I now have a relationship with these people where I have a common bond with them in real estate investing. And so the ones that do join, the people that join my team, that become a part of my business network, my marketing network, and my real estate network, now we're doing deals together. They have resources and I have resources that we can combine and collateralize together, and we can come together and we can get deals done faster with less effort. All right. So that's what I get out of it. Now, ultimately, I have transformed over the last 4 years, and I do this selfishly. So, what's the word? Unselfishly. I do it selflessly. Selfless.
There you go.
Keely, you guys, you do not need to be smart to do this, folks. So check it out. So what I mean by that is I know that the greater good, right? We've all, and not everybody's on the same curve that I am. You haven't experienced that perhaps, even though you know it in your head, you might not have it in your heart yet, but I know that I can help people. I know that with Renatus, generally speaking, to my core, that if I invite people to this, they can have a better life, and their friends can have a better life, and their family. And so now it has become much greater than me making money and me helping people making money, right? Bob has set it up where we're fortunate that our selfish needs of making money and having a better life ultimately are selfless in the way that we can help other people do it and get compensated at the same time. But my whole point to that is, and now we got 30 minutes, I want to get into the follow-up. The whole point to that is that let's approach this from a reality standpoint, from a honest standpoint, and from a transparent standpoint. There's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with being selfish for you and your family, okay? As long as you do it, I don't know, white hat, you do it the right way. And so Bob has created the right way for us to be able to help people and help ourselves first, okay? Just like the oxygen mask, right? It comes down. You don't selfishly put your oxygen mask on, but come on, folks, we're going to absolutely save I can't say that. We're going to save ourselves first so we can save other freaking people. Like, it's common sense, and it's okay to own that and be like, you know what? I'm going to save myself so I can freaking save you. If I'm broke ass, I cannot save you. I'm still trying to save myself. So cool. We've got that out of the way. Now, here's what we do. We have a follow-up. All right. Now, please understand, let's set the stage for a follow-up and go on detail. If you guys have comments. So, Allison, thank you very much. This is such great info. I've made these mistakes. So happy to have more clarity. Perfect. So this is so cool, Mary. All right. So number one is a follow-up is 2 hours. Okay. I did a follow-up last night at my house. I set it up for 6. I thought they'd be here at 6. I thought it would take maybe an hour. It took 2.5. They got here a little late. It's not a great scene to have, you know, it's totally cool. They're friends of mine. So, but my point is, you need time, right? There's a little bit of rapport. Nobody knows what to really expect. So you come together and you're not there to chit chat, and you're not there, but you have to develop a relationship. So there has to be, you have to learn a little bit about them as you start to work with them. If you're using the drive system, naturally you want to approach them from their drive, right? From whatever I don't know, whatever their personality is, right? So for me, number one is you gotta have a place. And I talked about this on Saturday. You guys, if we're eating lunch, you better plan for 3 hours. You can't get anything done when you're eating lunch, right? You're embarrassed to be in front of someone new in the way you eat, right? You can't speak with your mouth open. And generally speaking, lunch is social, right? This is not a social event. So if you're going to lunch and you're having food, it gives a social environment feel when you're trying to do business, all right? There's a difference between having a business lunch where you guys are having lunch one-on-one and you're just talking, shooting the crap, and you're talking brainstorming, you're at 50,000 feet and you're not pinpointing down and trying to make a sale or enroll someone and change someone's life. There's a difference there. Have a cocktail and have a business dinner at a steak place. That's different. All right. Preferably don't eat steak. So check this out. So number two is you're not eating lunch. Number one is you got 2 hours. Number three is I bring my computer. I bring a notepad and I bring a computer. And on my computer, there's two things. There is my and that's why I was going to share my screen, but there is my my computer with that I have a tab up, which is the Helios and the Business Center.
I gotta go walk her up.
Okay.
Before you leave.
Okay.
You're in the camera.
Yep.
Don't just walk through.
All right. And then there is also the presentation. Most people are going to have a question on the differences in the package. Now remember, a follow-up, they've seen something. They've seen a webinar. They've seen a video of the introduction. They've seen a Thursday night. They've seen a Super Saturday. They've been introduced to the product offerings, the services that we offer, Essentials and AIT. And they want to know the differences. They want to know what's the difference between 20 grand and 6 grand and 2 grand and 8 grand and 18,000, right? And so I have that, and I toggle back and forth between that slide and my back office. The reason I have my back office is I can show them what we get. I can also show them some education, but I don't show classes, you guys. I show all of the classes. I show the tracks, really the learning paths in Helios. Helios is a beautiful presentation of our education and the way that it looks, the way that it's three-dimensional, the beautiful color, the HD effect. It's a very dynamic back office, so you can show the pictures of the instructors and everything like that. And I talk to some of the things that they can see. Now, the first thing I do in a follow-up, you guys, is I'm just going to ask, right off the bat. You want to kind of, after we built a little bit of rapport, I typically want to gauge where they're at. Like, naturally, I'm going to let them know, listen, we're going to make sure you get your questions answered. Make sure you have a clear understanding. The purpose of this, is really to, naturally to enroll you, but honestly, we want to make sure that you have enough information so that you can make an educated decision, right? That you can make a good decision that you're comfortable with, one that you feel good about, whether it's no or not. If it's no, and you leave here and you did not enroll, or you're not ready to enroll, that you don't have regret about that you feel good enough that you made the right decision. I highly doubt that that's going to be the case. Once we get done with the information, you're going to want to enroll and things are right. And I will future pace people. I will let them know when you get started, this is what you're going to expect. When you're going to want to do this, right? There's embedded commands. There are things that I say that if I don't say them, I'm not helping them get to where they want to go, you guys. It's not like I'm forcing them. Just because I say they're going to join us does not mean they have to, right? But it sets the stage. It allows them to understand what's coming, right? And so they can start to believe in what, when Dane Clark talks about, hey, I sit down and I ask people, right off the bat, he asked people in a follow-up, where do you see yourself 1 year from now? Like, imagine what it feels like. Do you want to do a deal? Do you want to own a rental? Yeah, I want to have a rental. What does that feel like? Like, are you making $500? Tell me a little bit about this rental. that is future pacing someone. That is putting them in the future of what they can believe and feel so that they can move forward. They can have some validation on moving forward. That takes a little bit of time. It doesn't take an hour. It takes a few minutes, but you have to spend that time. Now, I'm going to set the stage. After I let people know, hey, we're going to get your questions answered. We're going to make sure you have all the information. We're going to make sure you've got the right decision. And I promise you, part of this one-on-one is going to be us spending a good amount of time on figuring out the money. When you tell me if money wasn't an object, you would get started. As soon as you do that, we're going to work on the funding. We're going to figure it out. And trust me, I don't care if you fund today, tomorrow, or next month, or whatever it takes. If you want this, and this is what you're working on, from here on out, our main focus will be finding the funds for you, all right? Most people don't fund this thing right out of their pocket, right? Even if they can, it's not always the best solution. So we're going to go over that. Before we get started, I need to know, like, let me ask you, if on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 is, here's my card, I'm ready to go, let's get started. Yeah, I don't even know why we're having this conversation, Bill. You had me at hello. Let's get started, right? And 1, 3 or 4 or 2 is just like, the timing's not right. I don't have the money. Even if I had the money, I wouldn't do it. I'm just not interested. Or, I thought I wanted to do real estate, but I really want to do basket weaving. Okay. Scale of 1 to 10, where do you see yourself? Like a 7, like an 8, probably a 9, I'm guessing. So again, I'm kind of putting it out there where I want them to be. And, I'm probably a 9. I'm like, awesome, or a 7 or an 8. I don't care what their number is. The number is insignificant. What's significant is my next question. So if you don't mind, would you please tell me, you love that, right, Steve? Would you please tell me, what is it that is keeping you from a 10? Like, why are you not a 10? Like, why are you an 8 or a 9? Like, I mean, obviously you saw it, you love it. Me and you are here today, sitting down, talking. We're going to, we want to move forward. Obviously, if everything makes sense. Is it because you don't have enough information? You want know a little bit more about the packages? Give people options, right? Is it the money or what is it? Yeah, to be honest, if I had the money, I'd be a 10. All right, perfect. So if I'm clear, if I can help you find the money, I mean, you may already have it, or you may not want to spend it, or you just may not have it at all. You don't even know you have it. But if we can find it, we spend a little time on it, and boom, it makes sense. And there's 20 grand available to you that you can afford to borrow or use or whatever the case is. You're ready to go, right? You're a 10. Like, we can place your order right now, correct? Yeah, I mean, barring any unforeseen things, but yeah, I'm ready to go. That would make me a 10. Or, maybe I'm an 8. You know what? I'm a little confused on this marketing thing. I don't understand. I really don't want to do that part of it. If I could get some clarity there, it's not my cup of tea, but I'm really interested in the real estate. Okay, great. Let me, once I clarify that, and make sure that you understand that, as far as the real estate becoming an investor and you buying the education, I'm pretty clear that you would jump all in as long as you've got the clarity on where the whole background of our company, kind of, right? And the dynamic of the earn while you learn thing. Okay, cool, perfect. So now I know what I'm going to talk about, you guys. When people answer this stuff, hey Matthew, did you have a question? I didn't know, no problem. When people talk about this, you guys, check this out. They're telling me what to do. So if someone says, I'm interested in the money, do you think that I'm going to go start sharing with them all of the education, like all the classes? Not at all. Why would I spend time on something they're not interested in needing? Like, if the question arises later and they go, okay, you found me 20 grand, but do I really need to spend 20 grand? Then I'm going to go back to that, right? If there's a future objection. But right now, they've just told me what their objection is. I need to know the difference between the marketing and the not marketing. I need to know where I can find the money. I need to know how much education and what do you mean by lifetime. They're gonna help me understand why they're not a 10, right? Why they're not ready to go today. And so now we can focus on where the follow-up goes and where I can spend my energy and my time. And I can pull up the back office or Helios, and I can start to show them the path of what everything is. I can make the difference for them. So again, this is taking time. So I have my laptop and I have internet access, and it is fast, not like this computer, this archaic one I'm on right now. And And I am on purpose sharing people. Now, we're still having rapport. I'm still asking questions, you know, do you have any kids? Because I might bring up a class if we're looking. I'm like, oh my God, you know, this class, I didn't even tell you about this, right? But that's in the future. That's if they're objecting to the classes. If they're telling me flat out, I need to know how to fund my education, then we can go through some funding, right? I'm going to move to the funding. And I do this on a white piece of paper, on a legal pad, and I write out what it is that they can use to fund. Now, I guess if you guys remind me next, I don't know, we haven't done a funding one. Michael usually does it. I hate to take anything away from Michael, but I can go through a funding, a whole funding for an hour with you guys, because it takes me 30 to 45, 50 minutes to fund, right? To go through funding on my follow-up. And it's usually the end. It's where I go. And then I place the order, right? Or we know where we stand. So, and I book to another event, right? I book to the Thursday, I book to a follow-up Saturday meeting at the property tour, something like that after the event, after the follow-up. But check this out. So number one, I go through the cash. Now, I always say this with cash, and maybe I should stick to the follow-up, you guys, and then we'll get into a full thing of funding. But I use a legal pad. I'll go over the basics of this funding. I use a legal pad, and I write them down in front of them. Number one is cash, right? And then I remind people that, you know, you may or may not have this cash in your pocket, right? In your safe, your savings, your checking, maybe even a very easy CD you can pull the money out of, whatever it is. I don't know if that's easy. I don't have a CD, so I don't know. Whatever's liquid, maybe, you know, whatever. It's technically liquid cash that they could liquidate very quickly, right? So I go through that. I'm like, even if you had it, the coolest thing about this is what you're going to learn is that you are going to be able to learn to invest your own cash, your revenue, your king money in investments where you can make double-digit returns with that investment. So it may not be the wisest choice for you yet to pay cash for this. Now, you may be a cash kind of guy or girl and you want to pay cash, and that's totally fine. We're good with that. We'll figure that out. But let's go through a few more options, right? And I know in the back of my head, most people don't have the cash, and if they do, they don't want to part with it. They want to throw it on a credit card. So number two, I go to a credit card, right? I'm not going to go through all these funding options in detail like I just did, but I go through credit and credit cards. I don't say credit nerds just yet necessarily. Then I go through 401k and IRAs. Generally speaking, I focus on the 401k loan. And then I move into a home equity line of credit, right? And every single time I give one of these example or one of these options for funding, I'm also going through a story. I am telling a story of how someone funded this education. And I'm going to get to why I do this. So each one, I'm letting people know how powerful each option is based on whether or not they have a home. Even if they don't have a home, and because I got to ask them, do you own your own home? Okay, the reason I ask you that is not because I care if you own your own home, right? Obviously, eventually you're going to own your own home. In fact, you know, I might even tell a story of how they could buy a home subject to, right? So, because you don't want to make someone feel bad because they don't own their own home. And I said this on Saturday, you know, I didn't buy my first house till I was 38 or 34. So if someone says, yeah, you know, and they're 40 years old and they don't own their home right now, whether they had one in the past, it doesn't matter. We don't want to make them feel bad, and it means nothing. That's why they're doing this. That's why they're getting into real estate. So I say, yeah, you know, I didn't even own my own home until I was 34, and now, you know, I've got almost 20 of them. So, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, so you can just tell these stories and make people feel comfortable in your environment, right? If you're not familiar with this, and this sounds really hard, or you know, remember, Dane did 260 one-on-ones last year alone. Okay. I don't know how many I did, but probably a minimum of 3 a week on average. Right. And so, and 3 times 52 is 150. And, you know, well, it's almost the identical numbers, you know, and it created over $150,000 in revenue for me last year, just in the marketing. Right. So, So if this sounds difficult or something you've never done before, A, you can prep for it, and B, the more you do it, the more polished you get, and you're not going to say the wrong thing to the right person. All right. This does not have to be perfect. You are the authority. You've already spent 20 grand. You've already had the education. You are already, whether you started the week before, the day before, or the month before, or the year before these folks, fortunately, you started already. And therefore you are one step, if not more not ahead of them, but up above them, not in the world of comparisons, but just in this world, right? So you are, they don't know what's wrong and what you're not saying or what you're saying too much of. They don't know that, right? They're looking for you for guidance. They want to be comfortable making this decision. So you're just trying to educate them. And the way that we educate people is we ask questions. Do you own your own home? How is your credit? What does your credit look like? You know what I mean? If you don't mind me asking, have you looked at your credit? Have you used your credit? Do you own your own car, right? The reason you don't want to know what kind of car they own, but why do you want to ask them what they own their own car? Because you want to know how they funded it. They're telling you they have no money, but they just bought a car. Then they figured out how to buy a car so they can figure out how to buy this. But if we don't ask these questions, you guys, it's very difficult for us to get to where we want to go. We don't get there by telling them what we assume they want to hear or what we think they need to hear. We get there by asking questions and having them tell us what they need us to share with them. Okay? So in the follow-up, I'm going through each story. And when I ask a question, I tell stories. I tell my own or someone else's about bad credit. If they don't have credit, if they don't have a 401k, when I get to the part after 401k and I go into stocks, right? Stocks and bonds where they can sell this. I'm like, hey, do you have any investments in your portfolio? Do you invest in besides your 401k, have you bought some stock or you have a financial planner who's put you in some other investments? I'm like, no, I don't have that. Or, yeah, to be honest, I should have. I had this one time and this guy, they're going to tell you what about it, right? I'm like, cool. I'm like, there's this one time I did buy stock and my wife and I put 10 grand in the gas and oil. You would think that thing would go through the roof. By the time we figured out how to sell that crap, it wasn't worth $2,500 and we lost $7,500 in about 6 months. And this guy was her friend, my wife's friend. He'd been a financial planner forever up next to her business where she owned her clinic. And we went into stock and oil and gas. And I think if we would have wrote it out, it would have been fine. But the market started crashing and we sold it and had to get rid of it. We needed the money and there you go. So I don't have any stock either. No big deal. I was just asking because you could obviously sell a little stock and a lot of people have some stock options and stuff like that. They could sell a little bit and then they could get the money for this. Does that make sense? So remember, even if they don't have it, I do not pass on. Now I'm going to I can go through the funding on the next one, but in a little more detail, but I'm just setting the stage here. I don't pass on each one. Like if they say, no, I don't own my own home, I still go through the HELOC. I explain it. I explain how much it costs. I explain how easy it is to get it, how it's a free loan, how it's a line of credit, how it turns into a mortgage. I talk a little bit about the HELOC so they can understand it. Why? So when they don't have any resources, they can go to an angel investor in the future and look to them to have one of these options and it'll be fresh in their mind. So I've got cash and credit or cash and savings. I've got 401 IRA, mainly 401. Then I've got my credit cards and credit score. Then I've got my home equity line. Then I've got my life insurance and I've got my stocks and bonds. Right? And I explain the differences between the life insurance. I have funded somebody in every one of these opportunities, in every one of these ways to fund. So I tell my life insurance policy story. I tell my own story, right? I'm an angel investor guy. I then move into credit nerds, right? And I may or may not talk about credit nerds at the credit time in the beginning, or I move forward towards the end. I'm like, the good news is Credit Nerds has a free credit repair. They can monitor your credit and or do some credit repair. I'm not really sure how the program works because I'm not in it, but there's that option. And then we also find 0% credit cards, right? So I go through all this with Credit Nerds. and what the opportunity is. I also tell them that it costs money. You know, if they're going to go through with this, you know, you want to be transparent, be upfront. Be like, wouldn't it be, you know, when you ask, I don't tell people, I ask them a question. Let me ask you this. If in fact Credit Nerds gets you 20 grand or maybe 30 or 40,000, 0% credit cards for 12 to 18 months, credit lines, credit cards, whatever. If they do that and they get it all for you, everything you need, they exceed your expectations on being able to get credit. And it's not you searching, guessing which card to go to, applying for one card and getting 2 grand when you should have gotten 10, you know, all these different things. If they do this for you, would it be worth it for you to compensate them for that? Like, it's a service. Would you agree? That's their business. They're in business to make money, helping people get credit. So that's why they offer, right? So I explain it a little bit. I'm just like, oh yeah, and it's a 10% fee. I don't tell people anything, right? Unless I'm in a hurry. If I'm in a hurry and I don't care, I tell. And when I say I don't care, I don't mean I don't care, but I mean, I don't care. I don't care enough to spend more time on that right at that time. Does that make sense? That's when we tell. Telling is fast. Asking questions takes time and commitment and caring. It takes dedication, but you're dedicated to you, your family, and your business. So you're going to allow 2 hours for this, right? When someone says, last night in my one-on-one, they asked me, Bill, you keep saying 20 grand. Why is that? What's the difference between the 20 and the 6 and the 2? Like, I know we went over, but I'm just not wrapping my head around it. I didn't go, oh, the 20 is the combo and the 8 is the advanced combo and the 2 is the essential. So you can pick either one of those. That is me telling them something fast and something I don't care about. So what I did was I went back to the slide from the presentation, which you can find in Helios presentations. And I actually pulled up my presentation, which is not in Helios, but I have my own. So I pull that up. It's on my desktop. It's on my laptop. It's on my thumb drive, you know, or for you guys, you just go into the back office. There's 5 different presentations that are the current presentation, the pre-Helios presentation, and they have the 20 grand and they have all the slides on there and you can pull up the slide. And I went through it with them and I said, listen, and I spent 10 minutes at least describing what? The combo. I didn't describe Helios. Essentials, and I didn't describe the advanced. I described the combo. I went right to the combo and I explained the combo and all of its value, right? And so now there's all this value on this $20,000 product, right? There's all this value on the essentials combined with this. And then I moved from the combo down to the essentials and I explained the essentials and how it's 2 people and it's for lifetime. And I fed off of those 2 things. And then I went to the middle package. And then I explained that they don't even have to buy essentials. They can buy AIT only, whatever they choose, right? That's where you get the 18 grand. And then I dwindled it down at the end and I talked about the advanced. And then I brought up the computer, you guys, and I showed them in the advanced on the Helios curriculum path, there are core classes, strategy classes, and bonus classes. And they're like, oh, so I get all 10. I'm like, nope. Great question. I'm glad you're looking at that, right? Because some of those classes are badass, right? Do you like that one right there, the raising private money? Do you like the contracts class? Awesome. The cool thing is you do get these strategy classes. When you pick the short sales track, you're going to get these 2 days of short sale. You're going to get this foreclosures class, this bankruptcy. This is going to be awesome, right? But you get these 5 strategy classes. That's it. That's why I told you, depending on the 2 tracks you get, you only get 10 to 12 total classes, 5 or 6 classes each track, each learning path. Remember, when we're in the advanced, which is probably what you're going to end up doing when you're doing the combo rather, then you not only get the strategy classes, you also get the bonus classes. You get them all. There's 66 classes total. There's 55 in AIT. You either get 10 or you get 55. Does that make sense? Oh, yeah, it makes sense. And remember, then I'm like, do you get lifetime access in the extreme? And his wife goes, oh yeah, you get the lifetime. I'm like, exactly. Here, it's only a 12-month, right? Oh, can you explain the 12-month? And I went through. So you guys, so I spent time on where it matters, right? I didn't just answer the question. Oh yeah, it's 2,000, 8,000, or 10,000, right? I wanna make clarity. I wanna get them clear. I wanna be transparent. I want them to understand. And I focus on the value. I focus on what I want them to focus on, right? So that's why on a Monday night, when there's no more webinar, right? And it's 6 o'clock and they show up a few minutes late, 15 minutes late. And I had to drive a long way, so that's fine. But it's a 2-hour process. It's not a 50, I can't rush through it, right? And I don't set an appointment until at least 2 to 2.5 to 3 hours later, right? And I tell people it's 11 to 1. It's 1 to 3. Because I want them to be there for 2 hours because we need to go through this. And then I offer them the opportunity. Do you have a question, Matt? Are you good? Matthew, sorry. In my follow-up, that's my funding. And then, and I can go through detail on the funding.
You never know how you're gonna play it.
But I will finish, I will close, right? And you've heard Dane talk about this. I use my own little version, but there's no question that I'll say, listen, the great news is that we're here to figure out how to fund. And I'll let people know that, listen, for me, when I saw this information, for the next 45 days, I wasn't at a bunch of meetings. I wasn't out trying to do real estate on my own and flip a house to fund this education. Obviously, if I knew how to do that, I wouldn't be there, or I would have already flipped a house, right? So what I did when I saw this information is I spent the next 45 days doing everything I could to figure out how to find the money. I was trying to get a credit card. I was trying to get a loan. I was trying to sell stuff. You're welcome, David. You're awesome. I'm gonna wrap it up right now. So I'll tell my story. I'm like, listen, this is what I did. And finally, I found this angel investor, right? Which we didn't spend much time on, you guys. And I'll do the funding thing next week. But I found this, and I'll tell them how I funded, right? If I haven't already. So here's what we want to do. The cool thing is we get to place your order today at step 1. We place your order. We'll get you in the combo just like you want. That's where everybody ends up, right? That's where you want to be. We're going to place this order. It's going to take a few minutes. I'm going to walk you through your signatures. I'm going to explain that you're signing an indemnification. I'm going to make sure you understand that, everything about your order and that you're happy with it. The cool thing is the best part is it starts your 7-day right of rescission right away. So by the time you fund this thing, you've got full blown, there's no turning back. You're good to go. Your 7-day right of rescission is over. You don't have to worry about that, right? We don't just offer 3 days, we offer 7. The next step is we fund it, right? Once step 2 comes, we find the money, we get the credit cards, or we get the money into your account, whatever it is, we borrow from your 401k, or we get an angel, whatever we do, what we're working on, we fund it. That's step 2. Immediately, step 3 is the beginning. Step 3, credit education opens up. Right after you fund, it's instantaneous and you're off and running, and we have another 2-hour meeting and we sit down, we brainstorm on what classes you're gonna watch, right? That's an easy 3-step process. So we'll place your order today and we'll move forward, right? So that's my finish, right? That's where we're gonna, and we already probably know which direction they've already told me probably where we're gonna find their money. And if it's credit nerds, then I'm walking them through credit nerds, if not putting them in my laptop right there. I'm walking, because there's always going to become an invalid report because they're not going to get their login and password over to credit nerds in time, the right way. And so I'll walk them through credit nerds, right? Or we've isolated an individual who's going to be their angel investor. And then I let them load. Let's go talk to them, figure out how you want to do it. If you want me to prep you for that call, I'm available. We'll talk beforehand, or you just find out if they're even remotely interested in having a conversation, and then I can get on the phone and help you, right? So we nail down the funding, where they're going to go for the next week or 2 to get their funding, and then we place the order if at all possible. It doesn't have to be that. Sometimes I don't place that order. I'll place it on the next time, but I know they're dedicated. And if they don't place the order then, typically and always, I'm booking a meeting from a meeting. Hey, you want to come again Thursday night, see it again for the second time? There's a lot of information, or I've got this property tour, or whatever it is. And then I'll invite them to that. And Steve, for example, this past week, in between, is going to get his funding came to another event or two. So it really works out, you guys. It's on purpose, and we're there for a reason. And if you're not doing one-on-ones, you are not. There's a reason you're not making 10 grand as a 5-star. If you've been 5-star and you haven't closed business, it's because you're not doing a one-on-one.
Hey, Bill, this is Joey
yeah.
Backwoods.
Hey, Joey. Yep.
Hey, first of all, thank you very much. I closed last month.
Yes.
An X combo, and I did it your way. I put in, like it was a
ghost order,
a cashier's check.
Yeah.
Okay? But the people were going into funding, and it worked like a charm. But the question I have, and I knew they were going into funding. Okay. Also, a year ago, this young couple spent 35 grand with fortune builders, and then after 12 months, their 800 number was gone unless they upgraded and stuff. So thank you very much. But here's my question. Is there a time limit when you use the cash? If you say there's a cashier's check, you put the date in, this and that. Is there a time that expires?
Yes. Yep.
How long?
Yeah, so there's not a specific date. It's about 30 days to 45 days. Either Renatus corporate, they might go in and clear it out themselves personally, or I don't know if there's a person in customer service that just checks these orders that have been pending for a while, or the computer has some sort of system where they fall off. I don't know the exact time, but I've noticed it's about 30 to 60 days. Those orders will be gone. And then you have to redo the order and re-sign the signatures, and their 7-day rescission starts all over again.
Okay. All right. So you probably got a month, and you might have 45 days, and it could go to 60. Yeah, but you really only do it with people that are really going to just look for the money, right?
I really do. I mean, I don't want 58 ghost orders in there, but at the same time, it does give a certain level of commitment. So, if I've got someone telling me that they're interested and they're ready to get started, if money wasn't an object, I'm placing their order. Even if I know they don't have any chance of funding for a little while, and it's going to probably be more than 30 days, at least they've committed to it. And then I can start getting them to more meetings. And this is why I get them to more meetings, you guys, is because the more meetings they can come to, the more value they'll create themselves. And when what human nature is, when we desire something, I don't care how broke we are. I don't care if we're starving, we will figure out a way to get it. And the more value that they can create by coming to more meetings, the more time they will invest on finding the money faster.
Okay. So it's the typical thing that you hear is it takes 5 to 7 exposures. Do you buy that or no?
I don't buy that anymore. I do believe that that's for a cold market person who's never been exposed to real estate investing before. It could take them 5 to 7 exposures. But if you're doing a 3-foot rule, you're meeting people at meetups, you are talking to warm market and stuff, it's 3 to 4. You should be able to, I move people to a follow-up after the very first exposure. Then typically they will see 2 or 3 more exposures in the process of getting funded, and I'll have 1 more follow-up. So I would say it's 2 to 4.
Okay, well, here, let me ask you a question. When you say a follow-up, is it on here? If you, let's say you meet with people, you talk with them, you develop a relationship. Do you have a rule they got to go see an intro first, or could you go straight to the follow-up if you did the intro?
If I will not do a follow-up one-on-one without doing an intro, because that means I would have to do the intro at the follow-up, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, but rarely ever, and every time I do it, I almost always regret it. Rarely ever will I go meet someone one-on-one who's never seen anything. And then I have to sit there and I have no idea where they're coming from. I have to find out why they're even interested in Renatus, right? However, I just did one follow-up on Friday with someone who'd never been to anything and hadn't seen a video. But my student was brand new and is so excited, and told him all about it. And he still wanted to come. And we had the greatest 2.5-hour lunch over this follow-up, which was a follow-up intro all in one. And I'm doing a real estate ride along with him and his partner on Wednesday, tomorrow, and we will be placing their order. And they've never even seen an event. So,
Fantastic. Okay,
so
I got
it's
it.
very
Got it.
rare, but it's got to be a very special circumstance. And everybody on this phone will eventually do one-on-ones from someone who hasn't seen Renatus yet. And it's just a longer process, and they're going to end up having to go to the meeting or see the video anyway. Unless you
Okay,
do a
got it.
full intro yourself for an hour and 15 minutes right there, and then do the follow-up after the first intro. You know what I mean?
Okay, so the best, yeah, okay, good. If they see because in Chicago, we usually have the follow-ups on Monday nights if they can't make it. So I had people see the intro, and then getting them to the follow-up, it's logistics. People got kids, they got
No, man,
this.
I would go, if I had my choice, I would do a one-on-one follow-up with every single person that comes to Thursday night. If they're lukewarm and not hot or not medium hot, then I would send them to the Monday if possible. Even if I do a one-on-one follow-up on Friday or Saturday, I would still try to send them to the next event. Absolutely.
Okay.
But I would always do the one-on-one follow-up is in your control, and you can close them right there with a computer. The group follow-up is for everybody else that's busy. When you've got people, it's just another added bonus. You've got Scott Rowe in there doing the follow-up. You got the best of the best in the front of the room helping you. But typically, you still have to go and do another one-on-one after the group follow-up anyway. So I always try to immediately 2 to 3 events. It's me, it's the intro or the property tour. It's a one-on-one follow-up. In between getting the money, finding the money, they're going to 1 or 2 more events and or maximum 1 more follow-up with me where we're funding the opportunity.
Okay, got it. All right,
thanks,
guys.
Bill.
Appreciate it.
Excellent, Joey. That helps everybody. I know it, buddy. I love you, brother, out there, man. I can't wait to come back to Chicago and train. That was an honor beyond belief.
I'll buy you a one-way ticket.
All right, I'll take it. My wife would probably take it. All right, you guys. I love it, you guys. I love you. You got my number. I'm going to put it in here, 760-533-3141. That is my cell phone number, 760-533-3141. It's in the chat. Thanks for hanging on a few extra minutes. I love you guys. This is recorded. It's on Facebook Live. And make it a great Tuesday. Make it happen. Call me if you need me. And I'll see you guys at Nationals. Please, please, please get registered ASAP for Nationals. Do whatever it takes. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on Dane Clark's Call. Thanks for being here. I'm going to try to end this meeting, and I don't know how. Because there we go. I'm going to exit full screen. And then it's just doing its thing to me today. Everybody's so cool. I got some. Thank you, everybody. Great call. Thank you. You're welcome. Norma, Rashina, Megan, you're awesome. Keely, love you guys. Everybody. Which Facebook group? It is the Facebook group is Elevate Renatus for the live Facebook. I'm almost positive. You're welcome. All right, right, Keely?
It's Renatus Team Elevate.
Yeah, Renatus Team Elevate.
There's a couple of them on there. It's the one with the 1.5 thousand people.
Perfect. 1.5 thousand people. It's the larger one. Renatus Team Elevate is where it's Facebook Live on Facebook. And so it's recorded. All right, Logan, you're welcome. Doug and Debbie, oh, so good to see you guys on this call. Awesome. Love everybody. Thanks for your participation and for listening to me, man. I just, I'm blessed to have you guys have this opportunity from Michael and to be able to have you guys listen to me is just beyond measure. Thank you very much, folks. Make it a great day. Talk to you soon.